Right, let's look at the rest of the weekend's results. And Chris, the Wolves fan, will be very happy about this. Wolves won, Sheffield United 0. But of course, the big story is the two Sheffield United players going almost to blows, head to head, like rams, butting each other.
Yeah. I mean, when I see it, as a manager, they're on one of those. They're on a season of, it's not happening. They're not good enough, technically, physically, whatever. They're just not good enough to compete at the Premier League level, and that squad was left short. But now the frustration, of course, come on to the manager, so they changed the manager. Chris is in there now, old school manager, and he'll be putting a little bit of fight in that team. And sometimes it overspills, and it overspilled on the pitch today, where it looked like a defender was sort of angling at an offensive player, not doing his job or not tracking a player, and then they've ended up having come in to sort of not a fisticuffs but a push and a shove and a sort of eyeball thing. And I don't think it's a good thing, by the way, but it's a kind of understandable thing. Professional football is tough business. It's tough. And when you're getting beat, it hurts, and the pain is starting to come out in ways that, as a manager, you don't want to see. And Chris, although he's defended that as we're showing some passion and some fight, and the fans want to see that, ultimately he'd be upset with that. Don't want to see that on the pitch.
Have you ever been close to blows with a teammate at all?
Yeah, many times.
Really?
Yeah. Andy Gray, whose birthday it was, used to play with him at Crystal Palace. Remember, he played England for one game, not the Scottish Andy Gray. And many times me and Andy were like, what are you doing? Having it with each other, giving each other a look and, whatever. But that's part of football.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Of course, Arsenal beating your former club 4-1 at the Emirates. So I'm going to ask you once again, are Newcastle in the top 4 race paths?
No.
Done now?
Yeah, so I'm not, you took me down that line last week, and
I did.
you was trying to correct me because my heart was leading my head.
Yeah.
But now my heart has gone to one side and my head has taken over. And that performance, really, I don't think was a reflection of how bad Newcastle were. I think it was a reflection of how good Arsenal are. And that front four, who've got a bit more licence now, coming together for Arsenal, and they look a real threat for the title.
Well, of course, looking at the number of goals that Arsenal have been scoring in the last 4 or 5 games, another 4 goals at the weekend.
But one of the moments in the game, right, which I think changed from that, when they had that mid-season break and they've come back firing, was Martinelli going right through the middle of the pitch, right? Whereas before he was stuck out on the left, Saka was stuck on the right, nothing through the middle, and you're thinking, but now there's a bit more freedom, whether he's freed up the system a little bit. But certainly, Omagord and everyone is on fire. They're the team to avoid at the moment. Well,
unfortunately for Sheffield United, they don't avoid them because next Monday, Sheffield United take on Arsenal at home. And of course, Newcastle beat them 8-0. Arsenal just beat Newcastle 4-1. That could be a proper...
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that.
I know it don't work like that, but you look at it and you think,
But listen, if you're Chris Wilder, and you're looking at your team, bless you, you're like, they're in a little, 50 cuts on the pitch, and you got Arsenal at home in your next game. Nothing is easy. It gets harder and harder. It's horrible down there. I've been there. It's tough.
Well, good news for you at the weekend, of course. Manchester United won, Fulham 2.
What a game. Yeah. And I didn't realise the example for last night. Big Fulham fan.
Yeah, big Fulham fan.
I want him to come with me in the cottage, sit in the cottage. He needs to, I want to invite him, on air.
Yeah.
Come on, example, because it's nice. It's not often you see, entertainers who come out and say they're Fulham fans. Everyone's a Chelsea fan, a Man United fan, Liverpool fan.
He's diehard Fulham.
Yeah.
He managed to go to the other week because he's only over from Australia for the tour. But, yeah, in our group message on tour, when that goal went in, he sent quite an explicit voice note in. He was that excited about it.
Well, they were very good, Fulham, but Man United were poor, and that's now 10 defeats for Ten Hag and Man United, and every defeat now is going to double up the pressure.
Yeah,
and get very difficult for that club, I think.
And of course, for Manchester United, it gets even more difficult because after their FA Cup...
Us next week,
isn't it? Manchester City.
Yep.
On Sunday. So we'll be reacting to that next Sunday on The Final Word.
Yeah.
Man City take on Manchester United at the Etihad next Sunday.
And Sarah will be all keyed up for it.
Oh, she'll be ready and waiting, hopefully, for a Manchester City win for her. You're another former club of yours, Crystal Palace. Back to winning ways. 3-0 against Burnley at home. Glasgow wins his first game in charge. Only one of the 15 previous Crystal Palace managers in the Premier League has won their first match in charge. Can you name me who that was?
I think that was me.
It was 2015.
Yeah. Spurs, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, we beat Dover in the Cup was my first game, and then Spurs at home, I think we beat you 3-1. Comfortable. But, you know, it was a I don't know. Sometimes things just work out, don't they? And I look at Crystal Palace, you know, Roy, you know, he's recovering from this terrible incident that he had, and he's well, by the way. I texted him today, he's okay. And now Palace sit 13th, like, you know, with one win. And that just goes to show you the perception can change very, very quickly. And now if you ask any man, any person, football fan, will Crystal Palace go down? You'll say no. And last week, everyone was like, they could be in trouble. Oh, they go and get a point up, Evan. Win with Paddy in charge, win with the new manager against a very poor Burnley. Let's be honest, that's 19 defeats for them. And suddenly, yeah, everything looks rosy at Palace.
It does look. And they, of course, they do go to Spurs next on Saturday.
Yes, which we are going to go to.
Yeah, we're going to have a watch of Crystal Palace versus Spurs.
Thanks to Luca, who's a good friend of mine, who's going to let us use his box.
Absolutely.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.